Alright. Main deck Bojuka Bog. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. And today Zevius has asked us to play with Cradle Cats. So we're definitely getting a little cute here, but the theory is at least sound. We know that Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride can get very, very dumb and create a large number of creatures. Well, if you have a large number of creatures, you can also have a large amount of mana. And if you have a bunch of mana or a bunch of creatures, then why not tutor up anything you could possibly want in your entire deck? Now, I will say this deck is assuming that things go well. If things go well, and you stick like Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls, and you get GAEA'S CRADLE going, you are capable of doing some very, very silly things. So, for example, you can do a Wasteland lock with Icetill Explorer, and so you can just keep playing your lands from your graveyard and have an additional land drop each turn, and whenever you play a land, you get to mill a card, so you get more and more and more selection of what you get to do with your lands. And we're going to have a bunch of different ways to go and tutor up Bojuka Bog in game 1, so we don't just eat it to Reanimator. And we have 7 main deck removal spells for a Tamiyo, so that we're not just stone cold dead to that. I don't really think Chord of Calling is fast enough for Legacy, at least not in this shell. The upside of Chord of Calling is twofold. It can tutor for any color creature, as opposed to something like Green Sun, which only tutors for green creatures, and it is also an instant, so you can do it in response to something scary going on the stack or at your opponent's end step, and then untap and do something else. So to take advantage of the fact that we can tutor up any creature, I'm going to play Clarion Conqueror in the sideboard. The format is just infested with Tamiyo right now, and beyond that, one of your other, maybe your only other viable thing to be doing is the One Ring nonsense. And Clarion Conqueror hits on Tamiyo, hits on Clues, hits Tezzeret and Karn and One Ring. It does a lot. So the ability to tutor that with a Chord of Calling if we reach the mid game is pretty cool. I have edited this deck slightly. I'm not going to lie to you, I went out of town in between when I started editing this deck and when I am recording this video, so I don't remember how much of it I have actually changed and what was and wasn't originally there. We are going to have some solid Game 1 silver bullets. I don't really know how I feel about Once Upon a Time here. It's kind of cool. If it's in your opening hand, it can help you assemble some of these things. More generally, I don't know how powerful a card this is in Legacy right now, unless you are doing something much more broken with your lands than what we are doing here. So I think this is a little too fair. Sorry, the Once Upon a Time is a little too fair for this deck. But I'm going to try to keep most of the donor's original vision here and, like, see how often we do end up Chord of Calling something out and it ends up being powerful. The sideboard does have some negative synergy with some things in the deck. So for example, Gaddock Teague is something you can tutor up that can be relatively impactful versus the One Ring decks. Just stop them from casting the One Ring or Karns in the first place. But when we do that, it does shut off our Chord of Calling. And similarly, Clarion Conqueror is a house, but we do have our own activated abilities on creatures, and we do technically have our own planeswalkers as well. But I think this is going to be one of those, this hurts you more than it hurts me situations. I will say there is sort of some neat synergy here between Ajani and Fiend Artisan. So we can play, let's say we play the Fiend Artisan on turn 2. We can then play a turn 3 Ajani, sacrifice the creature, go get something else, turn Ajani into the Planeswalker, and then we have a very, very real way to grind out games. So here's Cradle Cats. One way or another, we'll see how it goes. And folks, if you need any Magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com, and use promo code ThrabenU to support me while getting some sweet cards. Whether you need old stuff or new stuff, TOA tends to have it all. They've got like 95% of standard legal stuff in stock at any given time, and especially at in-person events, they have just a huge selection of things that are eternally playable, especially like play dual ends and such. All right, let's battle. If this hand works, it's great. And if this hand doesn't work, it does nothing. There will be no in between. This hand is either insane or terrible. And I think I'm going in for immediate Ocelot Pride action. I want to play Ocelot Pride. My opponent have nothing on board on their turn 1. Like, they don't play a Tamiyo or something like that. And then I get to play a new Ocelot Pride and wasteland them off of their dual land. That is my plan. That's how I want this to go. Swords. Swords is fine, because I can just reset the game with Wasteland. Nice. So I will Wasteland this Tundra. I will play a new cat. And if you kind of just look at Chord of Calling as a card in this hand right now, how many turns is it until this is a live card, right? It's a very, very long time. All right. Mutually Assured Wasteland Destruction. Now I'll just get a basic. Make Chord of Calling even harder to cast. I think it's just correct to do. My opponent has been fighting very strongly over these Ocelot Prides. Opponent still has mana? Oh, great. So I can't cast this. So I am on Elvish Reclaimer here, and I think I'm going to hold back my Ocelot Pride. I can potentially draw a white card and remove my opponent's Ocelot Pride. They have another land drop. They have a Swords. There's Flies. So they get this first attack in. This does have first strike. My Chord of Calling is a dead card. My Solitude is a dead card. Well, yeah, my Chord of Calling is a dead card since I got basic planes. I will get another cat. My opponent is going to Surveil. So unfortunately, they are probably a blue-white energy deck, so like they are going to have synergies with this. I'll take one. They do only have 2 cards left. That's the good news. I will Surveil. Swords is fine. That's all I'll give it, is fine. I'll take it. Go ahead and send in here. That's Felia. That's not fantastic. I think I just let my opponent block here. Damn it, opponent. I was trying to play around that. So now I get to kill one of these with first strike damage, but then the other one trades, and I'm in a very bad position. Again, my Chord of Calling is a dead card. My Solitude is a dead card. There's my opponent's own Ocelot Pride. They're now doubling up on these triggers. I think I just trade with a cat to keep my opponent further away from the City's Blessing. But I think my opponent just runs away with this game very, very easily. This makes it slightly more difficult, but one of these being a flyer is rough. Okay, so my opponent had Quantum Riddler, had 1 card remaining in hand. Now they have 3 cards in hand. So this is a problem, and these are problems. And this was a flyer, so did not have much to do there. So I can now cast a Chord of Calling for X equals 3. I could get anything in my deck other than a Solitude. I just don't think any of this stuff gets me out of this current situation. Like, I can get a Planeswalker, that doesn't matter. I can get a Knight, that doesn't matter. I can get a Fiend Artisan, that doesn't matter. I can't assemble Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride at the same time here. Yeah, I think I'm just dead. Maybe I can't get the basic planes. Maybe in respect of Chord of Calling being in the deck, I have to just get the Savannah there, and then this becomes castable for a 1-drop at some point in the middle of that game. I don't need Collector Ouphe here. I don't need Bojuka Bog here. I don't really need Keen-Eyed Curator, but I might end up keeping it. The cards aren't fantastic. I could play Carpet of Flowers to just accelerate to some of this stuff. Sometimes my opponent leads on basic planes or wastelands, and it's not the best. Or I could play like Clarion Conquerors or Endurances. I think I'm going to go Carpet. I think the only place that Chord of Calling works in Legacy is like the dedicated Nadu Elves combo deck. That is just very, very, very fast. Yeah, like look at how bad this Chord of Calling is in this opening hand that has a basic planes and only 1 castable creature. I'm going to keep this hand with the expectation that I lose this game. Unless I am very lucky with the top decks. And maybe I can't even play basic planes on this turn, because if I play basic planes, then Fiend Artisan is not live as a top deck. There's Tamiyo. Chord of Calling is back. Hello, Chord of Calling. Towards you. Alright, cool. Send in for 1 while surveilling. Yeah, I don't I don't feel like I'm doing anything broken with my opening hands, and that in and of itself is a problem right now in Legacy. It doesn't answer Tamiyo immediately, but is a solid card, I guess. I think I'll take that over a random draw. This will only be my first energy, though. At 20. I'm just passing the turn here. And this Tamiyo is free to just run wild. And the Fiend Artisan is very small right now, which, might be a problem. There's another land drop and a Tamiyo plus. So my attack stat is not good. I guess we are doing this. So I will sacrifice this. Don't have Clarion Conqueror. Would be good in this spot. I guess I should not have done this for 3. I should have done this for 2 and left up Karakas. My Knights aren't very big either. My Reclaimers aren't on yet. I'm going to get Ajani. But this was just objectively a misplay. If I don't have Clarion Conqueror. Opponent says nice combo. I hope so. Alright, opponent has Felia. Opponent gets Plains. Does Guide of Souls. Does Ocelot Pride. Cool. Pluses Tamiyo. Can attack with Felia and either get rid of my Cat Warrior or blink Starfield Shepherd. By the way, they have the City's Blessing. Alright, so I don't have a valid block here. And not leaving up Karakas was way worse than I thought because my opponent played Felia. 18. I think I'm just buried. My opponent had Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride in hand, so even if I blink the Felia, bounce the Felia, life's still just terrible. Notably, by the way, my cat got exiled by Felia and hence did not die. So I can stop one of these 3. I don't think this really gets me through in a meaningful way. Is this sorcery speed only? This is sorcery speed only. So I can Solitude one of these 2, I can bounce this one, and then I can funnel some mana into this. Probably has to be Ocelot Pride. I don't beat my opponent going wide of all of my permanents very well. Alright. The Warp creature just, I think, is a disaster for me more generally. And this is only as a sorcery, so I can't, junk the Solitude with its evoke trigger on the stack. Chord of Calling, not particularly strong here, but we can at least get another friend. I'll do another one of these. The proof of concept of these cards together is fine here. That is successful. However, this Tamiyo is at 8 already, and it's going to be hard to get through. My Cat Warrior token can technically attack, the Fiend Artisan can technically attack, but my opponent still has 3 cards in hand. Yikes. So, I'm out. Absolutely fucking not. We got seriously run over there. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Okay. If nothing goes wrong, this hand is great. And as soon as something goes wrong, this hand is terrible. Because we have exactly what this deck wants to do. We have the Ocelot Pride into the Fiend Artisan with the GAEA'S CRADLE to support it. So, the dream is here. But all it takes is one Thoughtseize, one counterspell, one whatever, and the dream is dead. Oh, are we just dead on turn 1? We're probably dead on turn 1. Maybe not, though. Hey! Nice. Not dead. I enjoyed the part where we are not dead. I enjoyed that a lot. So we will value Wastelanding over anything else here to keep my opponent from doing that again. He will crash in for 4, and we get an extra creature, and I get to turn this mana into Fiend Artisan on the next turn. Opponent fetches, and now we are probably going to see their Ponders. Yep. And hopefully we just Goldfish them. I can jump through some hoops with Fiend Artisan to gain access to Karakas. I didn't want that extra land. I'm fine doing this. Makes it easier to play around days. And then And opponent's at 23. I make another friend. We do have 35 life to get through. So it is, admittedly, a lot of life. What is my most anti-show and tell creature here? It's probably Knight of the Reliquary for Karakas, honestly. Oh, you're not even going to make me think through it. Cool. We'll take that. So my opponent is blue-green show and tell. I am probably interested in my enchantments. And we have to ask, why are they blue-green? They can be blue-green for Eureka. They can be blue-green for Uro. Veil of Summer is probably the most likely answer in this metagame. I don't know whether or not they're playing the One Ring. Probably. But neither of the versions that I just found at a quick glance were playing the One Ring, which makes doing something like Clarion Conqueror worse. I might Teague. Teague helps with some of the backup stuff that can happen, like the weird Drawn Through Dreams, Dream Halls, hardcasting Lorien Revealed. Chord of Calling, I think, is going to go. I think I'm leaving Swords for if my opponent is playing Tamiyo, because holy fuck, Tamiyo is scary. You get rid of that. And I assume that this is too slow for the matchup, and assume that my stuff is mostly safe. I think this is going to be a very bad matchup for me, and we got lucky with that Solitude hit. This doesn't do much unless my opponent show and tells in a creature. I think I'll mulligan this one. Sure, on 6, I'll say that's fine. United Curator can go back. Flooded Strand. Basic Island, unfortunately, and a Ponder. I would love for my Once Upon a Time to find me an Ocelot Pride or Guide of Souls that I can play after Carpet of Flowers. Oh shit, we just found one. Very nice. So if I take Solitude, I am revealing it, which is rather unfortunate. But I think I still have to take it. I'm going to drop Savannah, play Carpet. I'll now move to my second main phase, where I can use Carpet immediately, make the white, play the Ocelot Pride, and drop 2. Nothing wastelandable yet. Reclaimer's fine. I'll do this Carpet of Flowers stuff in the second main phase. Send on in. 18. Say yes. Make green. I think Reclaimer matters more. This getting me to the Karakas feels reasonably important. Opponent not fetching at end of turn. Ponder is fine. Now these all represent basic lands. I can convert a colorless mana on Wasteland into a green mana with Carpet of Flowers if I need to, but I don't think I need to. We're going to go ahead and send in. Bring my opponent to 16. Make green with Carpet. This gives me Fiend Artisan with the ability to still tutor up Karakas. And we'll make a friend. One more permanent, and I've got the City's Blessing. But it might be go time. That's a Volk. It is show and tell. I'll put in the Solitude because I still have other creature-based answers, but I expect this is going to be Omniscience. Yep. There is the Emrakul. A sneak attack on top of that is very good. So I'm going to lose 6 permanents. That leaves me with 4 permanents. Attack, creature is 4, 5, 6. Not really lethal with the Omniscience here. I can tutor up an answer. What if I leave this in play and sacrifice lands? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still not lethal. I think that just does it. If I don't put in the Solitude, I can attempt to pitch cast afterwards. There might be Force of Will backup here still, though. Now that I've seen red as well, Clarion Conqueror for sneak attack is more reasonable. United Curator can come out then. And a Swords. A Swords is reasonable. This is a reasonable hand of Magic the Gathering cards. The Swords isn't exciting. The Elvish Reclaimer works towards Karakas. It's fine. I think this matchup is an uphill battle, though. We're going to be getting Savannah here because we care about the green for Fiend Artisan. I will just be passing the turn. Scalding Tarn and pass. I think I'm just going to instantly fetch and have the ability to tutor. And then I can hold up Karakas on future turns while still playing out Fiend Artisan. Okay, opponent has Ancient Tomb, did not go off immediately. We'll sacrifice 1 Savannah. This is now a 3/4. I might get Wasteland first, with Ancient Tomb being played out there. Let's just go ahead and take this out immediately. Fiend Artisan is only a 1/1. Yeah, I'm just gonna get the ability to fetch up Karakas. Opponent is either thinking very, very hard about a removal spell, or they have disconnected. Okay, they did not disconnect, so they are thinking very hard about a removal spell. I'm going to tutor up Forest with the intention of getting rid of Forest. Now, if I stick something like a Knight of the Reliquary, it will be massive. It is a new Ancient Tomb with no follow-up play. Alright, waste my arm. I will get another one. I think I'm going to set a stop, though, and do this in a different phase. Okay, it didn't matter this time. I will fetch once again. If there's this same awkward pause, there's not. I'm going to get planes with the intention of sending that away. I have 8 lands in my graveyard. The simple Elvish Reclaimer is here for violence. That is another wastelandable land. Saying goodbye to Force of Will. Yeah, I am not casting spells right now. Another Ancient Tomb. And there is a stock up. Opponent might be discarding unless they have a Lotus Petal. I mean, I think it's very, very likely that they have a sneak attack. It's probably better to wasteland them rather than like try to play around multiple sneak attack activations with Karakas. But if I don't hit a land drop here, things get a little weird. And I did not. I will hit the Ancient Tomb. And I think this means... Oh, I am in draw step. Sure. I think this means that I now just cast Guide of Souls since I don't have the 2 mana available to cast this. Sorry, to activate this. Send in 4/3. Opponent's at 14, facing down an okay amount of damage. My Fiend Artisans are very small. None of my cards are castable other than Swords to Plowshares, which isn't really good to cast. Land drops are very strong. That is the 4th soul land. There is a sneak attack and an activation. There's an Emrakul, which doesn't literally end the game, but effectively ends the game because I can't fetch anymore. Opponent had 4 soul lands. I don't know what else to say. GG's. I'm gonna keep this opening hand. I don't feel great about it. I have Fiend Artisan and some mana. I have mana sinks and mana. That's fine. I'm not actually going to have instant speed Bojuka Bog with this hand. I think Chord of Calling is going to be a dead card here. I will be happy if I am wrong. I think my mana gets funneled into activating these cards and growing the size of my graveyard. I think we are on Savannahs here. If I get Wastelanded, it grows Elvish Reclaimer. Blue-black deck. Keen-Eyed Curator is cool. It's hyper inconvenient that the Bojuka Bog is in my hand. I think I just accept it. I think I'm going to pass the turn and hold up the ability to tutor Karakas, and it's just very awkward if my opponent entombs for Archon of Cruelty instead. Fetch. Okay, cool. Not entomb. Next land drop. Spellbomb is fine. I am going to go ahead and just activate this immediately, getting rid of one of the copies of Savannah to get Karakas, which I think is quite powerful. It's just good against Tamiyo and one of the 2 reanimator targets. I think now I just attempt to attack for 3, and if my opponent cycles, cool. And if they don't, I hit them for 3. Looks like they are going to cycle, which is fine. This is only going to be 1 point of damage. I think I use my GAEA'S CRADLE here and play one of these 2 cards. I think I'm going for Keen-Eyed Curator immediately, because I can use the Karakas mana to eat a random card out of graveyard if nothing broken happens that I need to check. And I can threaten this becoming a 7/7 Trampler. Oh, you Doomsday then? I was not proceeding as if you were Doomsday. Oh, Infernal Tutor. Revealing Dark Ritual, so my opponent will have 2 of those. Fuck. Yes. I suspect that I'm going to die to something stupid like an Adnause. This is going to be another Infernal Tutor for another Dark Ritual. So this is just going to build the Storm count. And again, Dark Writ, Storm is 7. Storm is 8 with the other Dark Writ. That is a Beseech the Mirror. So now my opponent can just get a Tendrils and kill me directly. Yeah, if I know that I am playing against Storm instead, I can win this game very easily with Fiend Artisan for... Well, Fiend Artisan for Collector Ouphe doesn't actually do it. Oh, they went for Gaea's Will. Can I stop this with one Keen-Eyed Curator activation? Oh, I have to math. So they have 1 mana, 3 mana, 5 mana, 7 mana. They have multiple Infernal Tutors, so I can't bottleneck them on Dark Rituals successfully. I can't bottleneck them on Infernal Tutor. Taking Lotus Petal doesn't do anything. I mean, other than influence the siege lines. I think I take a Dark Ritual, and then if my opponent like messes up and casts an Infernal Tutor in a bad way, maybe that does something. So 1 Dark Ritual out of that. But this doesn't change the outcome, I don't think. Kind of a cool line, though. 2 Dark Rituals is 5 mana, 7 mana. Infernal Tutor is death. Oh, you're going for a Thoughtseize first? Sure. And then Beseech for Tendrils will do it in that case. Alright, a storm count of 18. Alright, now we know what we're playing against. I have okay tools here. So I can do Endurance for some graveyard stuff. Gaddock is an asshole in this matchup. Deafening Silence is fine. Collector Ouphe and Clarion Conquerors are fine. I'm probably not going to force a Vigor here. My opponent has too many rituals, and I can consider Surgical, and it just won't be very good. We are going to cut Swords to Plowshares. I am going to cut Ice Till Explorer for being slow. Going to cut Solitudes, and Chord of Calling gets trimmed. I might just outright cut Chord of Callings. They are tutors for my Haymakers, but they're so slow. I think they're too slow. I don't know. I guess my opponent isn't likely to remove my Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls things that can produce extra permanents. All right, let's play with the Chord of Callings. I think it's wrong too, but let's gather data. Yes. So I will fetch a Savannah immediately and throw down a Deafening Silence. So in case you're not super familiar with the wording here, this is more than 1 non-creature spell each turn. I can cast 2 creatures. So I can go Reclaimer into Cradle Reclaimer, and that's totally fine. Polluted Delta, pass the turn. Endurance is not nothing. So there's Reclaimer, there's Cradle, there's more other Reclaimer, and this still leaves me with a green card in hand for Endurance. And then hopefully I can convert these into decent-sized creatures quickly. That's my opponent's 1. And they just pass the turn. So I will just take out a land immediately. One of these Elvish Reclaimers is going to, I think, be held back to get another Wasteland. Although sometimes I cast Endurance. I guess I have a few different lines here. I can also just attack with both and play Fiend Artisan and say that's Collector Ouphe next turn. I kind of like that. 18. And there's Fiend Artisan. Opponent fetches. Basic Swamp. Another land drop on their own turn. I don't like it when the Storm player sits there thinking, okay, cool. Land drop. So there's land. There's 3 mana. I guess I can do this post-combat and attack for 2 or 1. Hold the other one up. Yeah. Just send in for 1. 16. Then do this for X equals 2. Sacrificing 1 Reclaimer. Opponent is responding. I think this is just Gaddock Teague. Probably hits harder than Collector Ouphe on average. Now opponent has to deal with Teague and Deafening Silence. I have active Bojuka Bog and an Endurance as well that they don't know about. That's my opponent's 1. And I can convert Elvish Reclaimer into a Collector Ouphe as well. And the weird shit like Massacre is not going to work with Gaddock Teague in play. Might be better to cast this. Clarion Conqueror as well. Sure. Chord of Calling. Good job, Chord of Calling. So I have 3, 4, 5 mana. I kind of have 6 mana, but Clarion Conqueror makes that weird. I think we are going to just use Fiend Artisan for a turn here. Land do I want? Caracas, probably. Then activate this for 2, sacking the Elvish Reclaimer, throwing the Fiend Artisan, pick up a Collector Ouphe, and opponent has seen enough. We weren't ending the game, but we had access to 4.5 different points of interaction. Now I think for this game that I'm on the draw, I will take Surgical. So this is a very nice hand versus a deck that is not combo. I'm not sure that this is fast enough. So I can go turn 1 Ocelot Pride, connect with it on turn 2, and deploy Clarion Conqueror. Maybe it's not as bad as it looks. Deafening Silence is so strong, though. Maybe I just don't mulligan turn 2 Clarion Conqueror. That's like turn 2 Collector Ouphe. Opponent is also mulliganing to 5, so I might catch a little bit of a break here in terms of pacing. And they did keep on 5. There's a Thoughtseize. I assume that I am losing Clarion Conqueror, in which case I can get a Clarion Conqueror or a Collector Ouphe or a Gaddock Teague on turn 3 instead. Ooh, it's Surgical. Maybe they don't see this, or maybe they can just turn to me. We'll find out. Ocelot Pride. They could also just have another Thoughtseize. Oh wait, I'm dumb, right? This is... I get this cat at end step, not when I connect. So I have my thing on turn 3. Oh, this is way worse than I thought it was. Tropical Island and pass. Sure. Now instead, I go Guide of Souls, Cradle, 2 mana, gain a life, and we'll just always yield to that. Crash in for 1, gain another life. This is 22, then 23. So a minimum storm count kill is not doing it. But if my opponent has something like Ad Naus, that could give them enough gas. All right, they're going. The Ball Ritual, LED, Infernal Tutor, Fracking. I imagine they leave a black floating and Naus. All right, we'll see how it goes. We have 1 black floating, storm count of 5. A minimum storm count kill isn't going to do it. A few clicks later, they are at 4 life. This is probably the point where they need to stop. They did not hit very much mana. I guess if they stop, they die, though, right? So they have to continue, and sometimes they just die. I have more than 4 on board. 3? That didn't change anything. Okay, Lotus Petal helps. Infernal Tutor for LED. That doesn't get them anywhere. I think they need to hit a Dark Ritual here to even be in the conversation of winning. Chain of Vapor. That's not mana. Surgical Extraction. Now they can't flip Dark Rituals anymore. Do they have to just hit Lotus Petals and LEDs? Or is there another out? They're dead. And we have gotten the GG in chat. Yeah, I just had a brain fart about the Ocelot Pride token being able to be used for Clarion Conqueror mana. I think I should have mulliganed my hand. I didn't get punished because my opponent went to 5 and did not come out of the gates as quickly as possible. But, you know, their Ad Naus was probably below average. Although they did choose to put Ad Naus in their deck. So there is that. What's this? 1 and 2 now? 1 and 2 now. GG's. Oof, that mana situation is rough. This is not great. I will be keeping this. I am not excited about this opening hand, though. This looks like we're playing Maverick in a world where Maverick hasn't been a deck in years. Sorry, friends. I love Maverick too, but that is the reality. I think I'll just lead on the basic forest. I don't want to be wastelanded immediately. I would like to get to 3 lands to cast this Knight of the Reliquary. Alright, Prismatic Ending. Well, I drew another land. So, here we go. My opponent just going to be a Nadu deck? Yeah. There's not really fair green-white decks in Legacy right now, unfortunately. We'll play Marsh Flats and pass. Yes. Riot Arbor. Okay. It may be better for me to remove both of those rather than play Knight of the Reliquary. I think I'm going to go ahead and Surveil here. Fiend Artisan. Yes. Yes. Make a land drop. Remove one of these. Remove the other one. This is hyper aggressive. I'm not going to beat this deck as the game goes long. So my goal here is to bottle my opponent on resources and try to cut them off of mana and then steal a game. I am not succeeding. But I just don't think there's enough disruption in my deck to stop Nadu combo. Not until I have Clarion Conqueror in post-sideboard games. Yep. I'm probably dead. Okay, so now I don't get to do cool things at instant speed. Very pluses. And Nadu is just being held back. Okay. When my opponent can do their combo thing, I'm not in good shape. I don't have good attacks. I'm passing the turn. They got it, they got it. Alright, Teferi minuses. There's a Green Sun. There's Scythecat Cub. This is not deterministic, but now every land is going to start turning into Nadu activations as well. I think I'm willing to concede here. I'm not going to beat this. Let's move to the post-sideboard games where I have Clarion Conqueror. I think I'm going to keep a Collector Ouphe to shut off Shuko. Nomads is the more important thing to shut off, but it's something. I'm going to get rid of Sylvan Safekeeper, I think. And I'll get rid of a Keen-Eyed Curator. I could play Endurance to help with the Cephalid Breakfast side of the deck. I need more than one land. That's just not viable. Okay. Windswept Heath and pass. Cool. So I'll go ahead and Surveil now. I'm going to say no to Solitude. I don't have a white card that I would like to pitch. Knight. Sure. I'll play out a Collector Ouphe. It's not anything too crazy here. If my opponent cares about it, they can Swords it or Prismatic Ending it or Teferi bounce it or whatever. I don't even know that that's going to happen here. Tundra and Scythecat Cub. If I remove that, my efficiency is terrible. I'm not going to remove that, and I'm just going to be sad about it if it pops off. I should technically attack first. And I would trade Collector Ouphe for Scythecat Cub all day. 17. Looks like my opponent's going to get some counters. Up to a 4/4. There's a Prismatic Ending. Sure. Now I can just Swords this creature and move on with my life. I'm going to do Clarion Conqueror for mana efficiency here. Looking like my opponent is just fully Nadu mid-range. I think I don't have to worry about the Cephalid Breakfast combo side of things, which is good. Ponder's fine. Oh, they're going to split it up. That's fine. Ponder's fine. And I will just Swords the Scythecat Cub. Now my Caracas is a little awkward because it does not cast a Fiend Artisan. Yeah. I'll send in with another Fiend Artisan right here. I think I'm good with this too. Not Swordsing the Scythecat Cub immediately means that this Dryad Arbor gets a little more value than it otherwise might have. I think I'm okay with that. Creatures that are going to my graveyard are just growing this. Yeah, this is not great, but it's not the end of the world. I don't even think I bounce it. I don't think I give my opponent the card. So there's Fiend Artisan. And now there is the, like, how much do I want to play around Swords to Plowshares situation. I think I have to play around it a little bit. I don't want to bounce the Nadu. I won't if it attacks me. I will if Clarion Conqueror gets removed and something else nasty goes on the stack. Okay, the activated abilities of whatever this is can't be activated, so I don't have to worry about something like a Sylvan Safekeeper immediately doing gross things. Okay. So now my Fiend Artisan is shut off by Clarion Conqueror, but hopefully that's fine overall. Do all these things pre-combat, that way if something gets countered, Fiend Artisan gets bigger. I will just crash in with Fiend Artisan immediately. Opponent's at 10, and they concede. So I don't think I need the graveyard-oriented stuff. I think they are fully mid-range. I could try to get away without Collector Ouphe and put like Keen-Eyed Curator back in the deck as something to just create a large body that crashes through stalled boards. I have Clarion Conqueror to tutor for with Chord anyway. I try to get away with that. I could also carpet. I could carpet. This is reasonable. I still need more mana. Like, there's 5 green pips in this hand. Portico? Junking a Ponder. I think I just get Savannah immediately so that I can potentially cast green cards next turn. Throw down Guide of Souls. Hand's a little awkward if I don't draw a green land and also don't draw a white card all at the same time. Sure. Another Surveil land is fine. Okay, I did draw another white card. There's Ajani. I can potentially create a planeswalker next turn. Land drop 3. That's a Nadu. I will probably go ahead and untap and take another draw before I crack at this thing. Yeah, alright, so it has to be the Ajani. That's the only thing that I can do here. We'll take out the Nadu. Nadu triggers, gives my opponent great value. Yeah. Now my cards aren't castable. Chord's bad. All of these are green. I drew a Wasteland. Wastelanding my opponent doesn't even make a ton of sense. Not using my own mana is rough, though. I think we are fully bluffing that we have something. Halfling is fine. Nomads is not fine. There's no Nadu immediately. That's the good news. That does not help me. I'll send in with the cat. Opponent's at 18. I'll drop an Ocelot Pride. I think I'm dead. Like, I'm dead as soon as my opponent stops playing around anything and just jams. Swords is good for them. That is a green sun for a Nadu. And I don't sit through this on the channel anymore. My opponent can now activate this a whole bunch of times. It is just not worth playing Magic against that. The experience is miserable. Okay, I'm not overly excited about this hand. I don't think I'm going to mulligan it. It's double GAEA'S CRADLE, which is not great, though. It's Tamiyo! Got Collector Ouphe for the clues. This is not a wasteland. Ah! Alright. We will once upon a time. I could Elvish Reclaimer, and that turns GAEA'S Cradles into real lands. That's probably fine. Opponent says hello. I think I am going for Savannah here, unfortunately, which means it will be wastelandable. And opponent says hello to YouTube. Reclaimer is in play. The biggest thing that it is doing right now is helping my GAEA'S Cradle to produce mana. And we'll try to learn over the next couple of turns which Tamiyo deck my opponent is playing. Blooded Strand. Tamiyo's a planeswalker. Elvish Reclaimer doesn't get to attack now. And I am not close enough on lands in graveyard to easily change that. There's also now only one clue in play, so Ouphe looks worse. Oh, please just Prismatic Ending. Yeah, that creature was not doing anything. This is a dead card. We're not going to get to enough mana to cast that. Well, I guess I could if I do this and potentially let my opponent crack that clue. It would be a devastating daze. Alright, it did not happen. Now I can get to 4 mana for Ice Till Explorer next turn. That can get me an additional Windswept Heath. Attacking... Oh, they're just gonna... Really? This leaves a body in play to kill Tamiyo. Unless there's a Solitude. Which I guess I need to assume there is. Now not getting to Ice Till Explorer. If I cast Sylvan Safekeeper and my opponent has Solitude, I can still tap GAEA'S Cradle for 1 mana. I'm just sending in now. Show me a Solitude. Oh shit, no Solitude. Unexpected. This is free with GAEA'S Cradle. So now that's 2 mana. That gets me Collector Ouphe. I think I wasteland my opponent. There's gonna be big dumb stuff like Quantum Riddler in there. And maybe I can bottleneck my opponent on some of the like Quantum Riddler warp stuff. Oh, we're bent. Ah, fuck. Am I dead? Yep. Dead. It was Nadu the whole time. This is target creature I control, so it's not like I can give my opponent shit Shroud. I'll take a look at their deck and then concede. Alright. Dread Return and Thassa's Oracle are in graveyard. Is there anything weird here? No, not really. The Ghost Vacuum is maybe the spiciest thing, but that's not something that's super relevant in this matchup. So we just lose. GG. So we want Clarion Conqueror. This time around I probably need to respect the graveyard. I don't really want to, but I probably need to. And I have some number of cards that I can consider playing. I'm going to take out Sylvan Safekeeper. I'm going to get rid of Once Upon a Time. It's just so hard to keep up with Tamiyo and 2 different combos that overlap but care about different zones. I don't think I want 2 Collector Ouphes. Deck's just so slow. Like my opponent is threatening turn 2 combo kills, and I am threatening turn 2 Elvish Reclaimer get a tapped land. We are not the same. In a bad way. My opponent also just has enough removal that just trying to stick a Clarion Conqueror and expecting it to stay around is not the most reasonable. I think I need these for additional mana. I'm gonna try this. I don't feel good about it. I could play Surgicals as well. I could play Gaddock Teague for Dread Return. And Green Sun just doesn't feel good. This is a 5-card hand. It's not a bad 5-card hand, but it's a 5-card hand. I don't think I get to keep this. Okay. Please land off the top. I need it, or I'm dead. Like, just instantly dead. I can maybe miss once. I'm gonna go with Guide of Souls first. I think my opponent has too many mana dorks like Delighted Halfling that can just get in the way of an Ocelot Pride immediately. Alright, yeah, there's Tamiyo. So every time you board in a card that looks like Surgical Extraction versus a deck like this, the Tamiyos of the world just get to eat you alive. And missing this land drop was devastating. Now I don't get to get Ocelot Pride going as well. Land drop 2. Okay, I am potentially just dead. I'll get this going. But if my opponent's got a combo, I am dead. Make an extra cat and get an extra energy. And we are dead on turn 3. GG's, I believe that's a 1-4 league. Alrighty, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Not good. I think this deck is trying to play a strategy that is not viable in this metagame. I don't think it is viable to spend all of your mana and time investing in permanence. I think you just have to play cards that fucking win the game. And while Elvish Reclaimer and Fiend Artisan are capable of doing some cool things, the time that you spend investing in these cards just does not feel viable right now. Games of Legacy are too fast, with Tamiyo threatening to ultimate very, very quickly, threatening to transform on turn 2, with Grim Monolith starts from artifact decks going absolutely wild. I do not believe at any point in this league was Chord of Calling castable when I had it in hand. The green is a tough ask, and there's probably more white creatures than green creatures in play at any given time, so the Chord of Calling does not actually reduce the colored pips. Sort of like I predicted, if nothing happens to me and I just kind of get to do my thing, I can do really cool stuff. But I think as soon as the Thoughtseizes, the Wastelands, the Fatal Pushes of the world start coming in, we fall behind quickly. If I was going to play this again, which I would not, but if I was going to play this again, I would cut everything that costs more than 2 mana from this deck, I think. Minus the Solitude. That one's an honorary low drop. And I would try to shove the curve as far this way as we can. Maybe that means we become a Green Sun deck. The things that we're Green Sunning for aren't actually all that good, though. Minus Collector Ouphe. It feels like if we want to be using this stuff right now, we should either be Boros or, Amped Raptor and Goblin Bombardment and Broadside, or Blue-White for Quantum Riddler and Ephemerate. Maybe you can take some of the warp stuff and put it into this deck. I'm just not really sure that fair GAEA'S CRADLE is the way to go right now. Maybe if you want to do something like this, the top end becomes Natural Order. Like if we Natural Order for Hoof or Natural Order for Atraxa, is that good enough? I'm not really sure that it is. And without flash creatures like Felia, trying to hold up this mana means that you're not playing out other things like this. And so if you need to hold up a Bojuka Bog, it's very awkward because you're not progressing your own board. And I think we wastelanded a show and tell player 3 or 4 times and it just didn't matter. They went off on limited resources anyway. So many decks can just win on 1 or 2 lands right now. Like over the course of an end step and a turn, Entomb Reanimate only requires 1 land. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith into Key, it can get you to a 4-drop to do busted things. I think the game plan that this deck is trying to do is just not unfair enough and is not fast enough for Legacy. Maybe you could try to Fiend Artisan for pieces of Nadu? I don't really know that that's better than just green sunning for pieces of Nadu, though. So Zevious, I don't know what to tell you. I think the Fiend Artisan Ajani stuff is cool. That is relatively synergistic, but it's hard to just live for long enough to get this off the ground. Do you go into black? Do you become Abzan and get Thoughtseize into the main deck? Just play Rock? And then you can play Orcish Bowmasters to go with Fiend Artisan as well? That could be reasonable. I don't know good, but could be reasonable. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Hope that wasn't enjoyable, but we took a beating in this one. We'll try again tomorrow. See ya.